Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and we're back out here in the garage for another garage gun talk because I got something that I think is exciting that some of you guys probably would think is kind of boring to talk about, and that is I have finally gotten another one of my unobtainium guns. Now, this one is not super expensive, and it's not right now super rare, but it's a gun that for literally years I have wanted to get my hands on. And the opportunity finally presented itself. And yes, it's a Glock. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. A Glock? How in the world is that a collector's or a rare gun? Well, if you are somebody that's like me and loves to learn everything there is to know about guns, you eventually kind of do this thought exploration and you start thinking about things. And as I got into guns, and I personally like Glocks, I'm not like a Glock fanboy, I have a pretty sizable collection, but when it comes to the polymer striker fired pistols, I find them to be perfect for me. Okay, I like the grip angle, I like the consistency, and you'll see that in all of my range reports. But I understand if you're not a huge Glock fan and the reasons why you don't like Glocks. But as a collector, I started thinking, okay, learning about the design. And, Glock does everything in a sequential model number. So their first gun was the Glock 17, because that was the 17th patent that Glock took out. They had knives before and entrenching tools and so forth, and I have one hanging up over here on the wall. They had all these other patents for shower curtain rods and things before they came up with the pistol, which was their 17th patent. So they started off with the Glock 17. And you start going, okay, what are all the different models? You have the Glock 18, the full auto version of the 17, which actually the parts are not interchangeable. The rails and the slide actually have different dimensions, so the parts cannot be interchanged. You have the Glock 19, which is the compact in 9mm. Got the 20, which is the beginning of the larger frames. In 10mm, the 21 and 45, those are full size. The 22 is the full size 40. The 23 is the compact 40. Then you have the 24, which is like the 17L in 40, so it's a 6-inch barrel. Then you have the 25, and you start going, wait, hold up a second. I've seen all these other Glocks, and some of them were limited production. I have a Glock 24 too. They didn't make many of those, but you can still get them. But a Glock 25, I've never seen that. Well, let's skip over that one for a second. Then you got the Glock 26, the compact 1 in 9, the 27, sorry, the subcompact in 9. The 27 is the subcompact in 40. Then you have the 28, and you never hear or see about the 28. Then you have the 29, which is Glock's, well, they call it a subcompact. I think it's more of a compact, 10mm. Then the 30, and all the variations of that, like the 30S and so forth, that's in 45. It's their compact or subcompact. The 31, 2, and 3 are the ones in 357 SIG, full-size compact and subcompact. 34 is a shortened version of the 17L designed for certain competition shooters, so it fits inside the box. That's in 9mm. The 35 is in 40. Same gun, essentially. The 36 is the single stack 45 subcompact. The 37, 38, 39 are in 45 gap or Glock automatic pistol, which is a caliber that never really took off, and the full-size compact and subcompact variants of those. The 40 is essentially like the 34, but chambered in 10mm. The 41 is the 45 version of that longer slide. I recently reviewed one of those. The 42 is really interesting because this kind of goes along with what I want to show you here. It's the kind of pocket carry subcompact 380 single stack. The 43 was in 9mm, or is a 9mm. They still make it. They got the 43X and all of its variations. The 44, I believe, is in 22. Then you have the 45, which is a 9mm with a compact slide, full-size frame, and that's the same thing as the 19X, but pretty much in all black with front cocking serrations. Then you have the 46, which is another unobtainium gun here in the United States, which has a rotating barrel designed for a German German police contract. Then, of course, you have the 47, 48, and 49. What is it? The 47 is like the... Oh, boy. These are the last three I don't really know as well. One's like a single stack. They're all 9mm, and they all have, like, different dimensions. I would say the 49 is like a 17 slide on a 19 frame. the 48 and 40. Anyway, you guys get the idea. Well, there's 3 guns in there you will never see, or were never able to see on gun store shelves. The 25, the 28, and the 46. I already told you, the 46, there's only a few videos out there on it. It's a very limited production gun for a police contract in Germany. It uses a rotating barrel because it was designed to be able to be field stripped without having to pull the trigger, which every other Glock requires. Very interesting gun. It's supposed to have a terrible trigger. I think Ian from Forgotten Weapons was able to see one when he was in Europe, and he made a video on it. You should go check it out. It's really interesting. I would love to have one just because it's different, even though it's probably not that great of a gun. But then let's talk about the 25 and the 28. And these, when I looked it up online for years, I was fascinated. Like, what are they? Well, the 25 is a compact, same size as a 19, pistol in .380. And the 28 was the subcompact, same size as a 26 in .380. And it's like, well, why can't I get those? Where are they? Because .380s is, kind of a more popular cartridge now. It's kind of come back in vogue. We got guns like the Beretta 80X and so forth. Well, it turned out that these guns were not sold in the United States for 2 reasons. Number one, Glock didn't think that they would be all that popular. They thought that the 9mm guns would always be more popular than the .380. There wasn't a reason to tool up and manufacture them. They were just too big for .380. Because essentially the .380 guns that we had here in the States were like pocket carry guns, small stuff, and these were just too big and wide for .380. But also, they were illegal to import because they did not meet the ATF's point system for importation. So the U.S. government said that these were not suitable for sporting purposes. And this comes from the 1968 Gun Control Act, when they were trying to clamp down on Saturday night specials, which they deemed as inferior, poor quality guns at a cheap price and so forth. So they came up with this point system for importation. Now, if these guns were manufactured in the United States, they're totally legal. The only way that you could get a 25 or a 28 in the United States is that if they were brought in for law enforcement, trials, essentially. If a law enforcement agency wanted to try one out for whatever reason, they could get a permission slip, essentially, to import them. And then once it was imported, that particular gun for testing, and the police department decided they didn't want them, or if they bought some and then they just didn't want to use them anymore, they're allowed to sell them. Okay, so those could end up on the civilian market. And it's my understanding that there are like a handful of those. Like, we're talking like 5 or less that are made in Austria that exist, both 28s and 25s. And those are probably brought in for collectors. Essentially, they knew somebody in law enforcement. I'm just speculating here. And got them in, and then like, oh yeah, we tested them and we don't want them, so they could legally sell them, and they float around out there. And I was like, wow, those are really cool. And then I would look up online about, like, how do they work? Because you have a .380 and essentially a gun that's chambered for 9mm. And a lot of misinformation is out there. I found people saying, oh, they don't use the Browning tilting barrel locking system. They use direct blowback. And the few videos you could find online were from people in other countries, because these guns were imported to countries like Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, where civilians typically are not allowed to own guns in military calibers, and 9mm is obviously military caliber, so they were very popular down there. All these videos would just like show the gun itself. They wouldn't even talk. It would just be like they just handled the gun for like a minute and a half. So these guns to me were always like mysterious. And the main reason I wanted them, not because they were necessarily like super collectible, is because I wasn't supposed to have them, because the government was like, no, 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 you can't own these. A couple years ago, I found out that Lipsy's, a huge distributor here in the United States of guns, was able to convince Glock in the United States to make the Glock 28. And it was supposed to be a limited production run. I don't know how many they made. I know they're out there floating around, and they went for like a typical price of like, what you would find a Glock 26 for. And because I knew that these came out, I had one of the local FFLs that I have worked with before be able to get me one. And so I was able to pick this one up, and I made a video on it. And you can even see how like the barrel hood here is a little bit different. I've never shot this. I kind of look at this as a collector gun. And the magazines are a little bit different. You can see how they are the same size as a 19, but they have that recess in it because, 308 did I say 308? 380 is a shorter cartridge, so the magazine has to be different. But yeah, so I was able to take this gun apart and go, oh yeah, it actually does use a tilting barrel. All those people online were idiots, which is what I expected based off of what I was able to see from videos and pictures. And it's just different. It's a Gen 3, and that's all the 25s and 28s ever were a Gen 3s. So I had this in the collection. I was like, wow, that's so cool. It's just one of my collector Glocks. I know, I collect Glocks. You can make fun of me all you want. And I was like, well, I hope they come out with a 25. They never did. They never did. I would look occasionally, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then I saw something came up on my YouTube feed, my recommended feed about, oh my gosh, Glock is discontinuing these models. And I was like, okay, I'm going to see what they're discontinuing. And the person mentioned the Glock 25. I'm like, holy crap, they made a Glock 25. And so I did some research and turned out, yeah, I don't know how many they made. Some people said like 1,500 or something. I don't know if that's the number. No idea. They're not very transparent about their production numbers. But I was able to find some of these that I guess they are discontinued now, but I found some like new old stock. And so I picked one up. And so now I have two of the three unobtainium Glocks. Now, the only thing that's not necessarily super cool about these are made in the U.S. because they're, have to be because of stupid import restrictions. But now I have a Glock 25. Yeah, a Glock 25. Essentially a Glock 19 chambered in 380. And, of course, let me clear it here. I literally just kind of picked this gun up from my FFL yesterday. You can see it has that weird thing in the barrel hood, and that's probably because of the travel of the barrel when it tilts and how long it has to be locked up for. There are some people that say they did make a conversion kit for Glock 19s that would allow you to use the 25 mags and change out the barrel, the recoil spring, and the slide. And I think you could take a Glock 19 and have it shoot 380. And those were supposed to be like OEM kits. I've never seen one. But this is an actual one that was, a proper Glock 25. Let me show you here on the side. Hopefully you can see it right there. And there's the markings made in the U.S. But yeah, I have never been able to hold or own one of these ever, and I have wanted one literally for years. And I know some of you guys are laughing like, oh my gosh, it's a Glock? How silly and stupid is that? Nobody collects Glocks. There actually are people that do collect rare Glocks. Like here's the 28. You can see the marking on that one. But yeah, there's guns like Gen 1 19s that are super rare, or you can have Gen 1 17s that have very low serial numbers, like anything with the prefix of AA in the serial number is super collectible, and the lower the serial number, the rarer it is. The early ones had pencil barrels. I have a Gen 1. It has the two-piece recoil spring, but it has the non-pencil barrel. It's like I think it's a B prefix serial, BA. It's an early one, but not like super early. But anyway, yeah, there are people that collect certain ones that were made for specific purposes, or if they're, military or law enforcement trade-ins and they have special markings and so forth. But yeah, so I hope to own a Glock 46 one day just to kind of have the unobtainium ones, but you never, ever, 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 ever see these on store shelves. So I guess you could have because they did make them in very limited production, but pretty much only people that knew they existed would seek them out. And I'm so excited to have both of these. And yeah, you can laugh all you want, but yeah, these were just unobtainium guns. And the main reason I want them, not because they're Glocks, not because they're 380s, is because these are illegal to import, but completely allowed if they're made in the U.S. So that's what we have here, and I'm really excited. And to kind of show you the size comparison, here is a, what is this? Yeah, this is a Gen 3 19. That's in my carry rotation. Yeah, it has the light on it. But you can see it's the same size. So yeah, same thickness on the slide, so forth. So yeah, some people would say it's stupid to have a 380 this size, but I say, Beretta's pretty successful with the 80X and the 84 FS. So that's what this is. So I don't know, if you're a weird geeky Glock collector like I am, you might want to take a look at one of these because they're still out there. They're still out there. I don't know how many they made, and they were definitely not big sellers. But that's what it is. So a 380 Glock 19 size pistol. So yeah, unobtainium for so long. And I just wanted one and had the option and ability to get one. So, and I haven't actually bought a gun in a long time because I get to review so many amazing guns. I just haven't had like the itch to get one. And this one I had to get. So anyway, let me know what you think about the Glock 25 and the Glock 28. Have you ever held one or shot one? I would love to know. But I had to share that with you. I'll probably do a proper unboxing video with these guns. I think I did it with this one for my main channel, but talk about their history and why they're kind of rare. So who knows, maybe they'll make a series of Glock 46s just for collectors. But tonight I'm going to film the garage portion of the range report on the S333 Thunderstruck. I've learned a lot about this gun from Standard Manufacturing. And when I made the thumbnail, man, I looked all over for the logo that I guess they used to use because there it is. That is their old logo. Standard Manufacturing, the STD gun. Who doesn't want an STD gun, huh? Well, that is what they used to have. Now they have this logo right here. And that is what I had to use on the thumbnail. I could not find this logo anywhere. So on the thumbnail, I used that one. I guess that's their new one. But man, oh man, would that have been cool to have that one. But honestly, when you start a company, typically you have like marketing people that are going to sit down and go, is this a good idea? I would love to know how much they paid for this logo. Who approved this? Who looked at this and said, that looks like a good idea for our company. Standard Manufacturing, STD gun. Man, oh, kind of hurts my head. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. And the word of the day, if you watch to the end of this video, word of the day. The word of the day is going to be, I won't say unobtainium, but I will say rare. Rare is the word of the day because I have two rare Glocks or rare-ish Glocks. Not like super rare, you just don't typically see them, and they were never popular. And they're very popular down in Brazil, Mexico, other countries in South America. And for a long time, you could find out no information on them, never see any videos of them, no reviews of them. And if you did, they were all in Portuguese or in Spanish. So I hope to create some content with these to get that information out there. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thank you for joining me here in the garage. And as always, thanks for watching.